Okay, everybody, it is 7:30. So if any stragglers would like to take their seats, everybody, I love that you're networking. All right, fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. I am Allie Merritt. I am an Atlanta startup advocate. I am also a product manager at SalesLoft, which is a former ATV company. And I'm the new host of Atlanta Startup Village. So if you were here expecting John Birdsong, he has stepped away to work on his own startup, Wide Angle. He has grown Startup Village for the last 5 years, and we really appreciate that. But Wide Angle is also awesome. So quick shameless plug. Wide Angle is the simplest way for performance reviews and one-on-one meetings to take place. He is still here in the village. Please reach out to him. So welcome to Atlanta Startup Village. We are the largest monthly meeting of entrepreneurs in the Southeast. You can find us on Meetup. You can also, I believe normally if you guys are on Mixel, you can find us on Mixel and meet with other like-minded entrepreneurs here in the audience. If you are here for the first time, who's here for the first time? Who's never been here? Woo, all right. That's like a third to a half. Great, guys. We hope you will join us next time. This is a really great night. We will move pretty quickly through everything, and then there'll be a short amount of networking at the end. I know that it seems weird to say you can find us on Meetup, but it is a very large and thriving community, 9,600 people. I recommend, if this is your target audience, get on Meetup and post there because you can find founders, employees, partners, and connections. Super important. You can also follow us on social media, hashtag ATLSV. We are on Twitter and on Instagram. Please tag us in that, and please tag the presenters. About the format, we've got 5 companies, 5 minutes to pitch, 5 minutes Q&A at the end. If they go over their 5 minutes of pitching, they will go directly into Q&A. We will have them repeat the question. So after you ask, try to ask loud and try to be short so that they don't have to get halfway through and ask you what you said again. And one more point, these presenters have been working super hard on their presentations, so let's not distract from that. So if you are in the back and you're having really awesome conversations, that is fantastic. Please take it to the lobby, which is outside the glass doors, because we can hear you. That would be sad if they were up here entrepreneurs pitching and they got distracted. So let's not do that. Everybody take it outside, or I will have to tell you to please be quiet, and I don't want to do that either. All right, so one last thing. We have a live stream tonight. You can see that we've got a link up here. It is live streamed in the back here with the lovely Emma from PullSpark. So if you have any questions about video production, please go back and talk to them after. And now let's talk beer. Who loves beer? Who here has beer tonight? That is the saddest enthusiasm for beer I've ever heard. Guys, beer. All right. So we have 2 sponsors that have made this beer possible. First up, we have Jen with ATDC.
Hi there. Good evening. So I want to point out that ATDC has been sponsoring this event, Atlanta Startup Village, since it was in Hippopotamus. I personally went and picked up pizza for the second one, right, in my car. And that was a long time ago, and unfortunately we don't do pizza anymore, but we still do beer. So how many of you know what ATDC is? Okay, good number. So ATDC is the Advanced Technology Development Center. We are Georgia's technology incubator. We help entrepreneurs learn, launch, scale, and succeed in the state of Georgia. We are open to anybody in the state of Georgia that has a technology product idea. We basically run an education program that served 1,600 entrepreneurs across the state of Georgia in 7 locations last year, while incubating, both physically and virtually, about 125 companies. It's somewhat virtual now because we don't really care where you work. If you want to be at Atlanta Startup Village, we still want to coach you. We still want to make connections for you. If you want to be at Strongbox West, that's awesome. Flatiron City, Tech Square Labs, we are still here to support you, or if you are a technology entrepreneur in the state of Georgia. It's our mission. We are state funded, and that's why we're here to serve. I am here tonight to tell you primarily about our biggest event of the year, which is coming up on May 11th. It is called the ATDC Startup Showcase. It runs pretty much from 1 o'clock to, question mark, because the after party went really late last year. But it is about 70 plus companies showcasing in an exhibit hall style, 10 companies giving a fast pitch, 4 companies graduating. We have an awesome keynote speaker who will be announced later this week. I will just drop a little subtle hint. He hasn't really been on the speaking circuit lately, but he sold his company to IBM about a year ago. Big exit, successful serial entrepreneur in town, and he's going to be there to talk that evening. And then it wraps up with this really great, sort of crazy after party. And so we'd love you all to come and check out our companies and celebrate ATDC and the startup scene in Atlanta and the state of Georgia at the Atlanta Startup Showcase, or ATDC Startup Showcase on May 11th. We have a discount code for anybody watching out there tonight or in the room. We're rolling it back to early bird pricing. So if you use this tonight before midnight, it's ATLSV, all caps. You get early bird pricing to come to the Startup Showcase. We'll have probably 150 investors in the room. So if you're also looking to raise money, you should be there. Thanks.
Let's give her a hand. And then the second of our beer sponsors is Digital Crafts. Let's give them a hand too, guys. They also brought beer.
Thanks, everybody. I'm Max McChesney, one of the co-founders of Digital Crafts. So we are an accelerated learning program, more commonly known as a code boot camp or a code school. But the idea is if you are trying to become a software developer, whether you're right out of school or switching careers at the age of whenever, then you come to us as a beginner. We kick your butt for 4 months, and we turn you into a full-stack web developer. In JavaScript, Python, we can get into the technologies on the side if y'all want. So I've got a few things that I would otherwise forget to cover here. So, we have a campus here in ATV on the 5th floor. We also have a campus in Houston, Texas. Our class is full-time at 16 weeks, Monday to Friday, 9 to 4 p.m. Full-stack web development. We also have a part-time class that is more friendly for the working professional. We just launched it. It's 24 weeks long. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2. So let us know if you're interested in that. The next cohort starts June 19th. We have 2 seats remaining. We have a demo day, which is our graduation event for one of our current classes on June 2nd, which will be in the community center. So if you're a member here, please join us. Free beer, free drinks. You'll get to see what our students build. Lastly, 2 more things. We're hiring, so we're growing. We need an admissions director here in Atlanta. We also need an operations manager. So if that sounds interesting to you to help us run the day-to-day at Digital Crafts, please reach out, jobs@digitalcrafts, or go to our website. Lastly, the employer network. If you have a tech company, if you are a hirer or an employer in any way, we don't charge recruiting fees. We just graduate top quality talent. So let us know if you need a web developer. They're tough to find. Thanks, everybody.
All right, we're going to kick it off with what you've been waiting for. So first up, of our companies, we have SkillRoute, online learning reinvented.
Okay, hopefully before the clock starts, I need to do 2 things. One is sound check. I hope everyone can hear me. And an accent check. Can everyone understand me? Okay, let's go. So I'm Raghav Badiger. I'm a co-founder and CEO of, so how many of you say SkillRoute? And how many of you say SkillRoute? Okay, no, never mind. Okay, so there'll be a few question and answers in the beginning. I have no prizes to give away. Just play along for your self-respect and pride, okay? So SkillRoute, or SkillRoute, as most of you would like to say, it's an online learning platform in technology for manual physical skills. So what do I mean by that? So we don't do math and science and programming like Digital Crafts. You can go and do it there, but we focus on things which are where you get physically involved. So engineering, automotive engineering, sports, arts and crafts. I mean, you know where to go and learn math and science, but have you ever thought of learning how to sculpt online? No, so we focus on those kind of things where you get physically involved, okay? Why do we need to do it using a separate platform or technology? So the underlying philosophy is video technology as we know it, if you think about it, they were designed for consuming entertainment and not for learning online. And when you learn something where it's instruction demonstration based, where you observe your instructor, you mimic, you repeat, you practice, It's very different from just watching a video with someone speaking and watching some slides. Okay, so we have recreated that that experience with our app. So how do we do it? So let's start with something like learning how to play guitar.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about before we get started with anything.
I'm going to cut off the audio.
So the first,
Oh. Let's start again. So if there are any glitches with the app, just assume it's the cables. Our app is perfect, okay? So what we have tried to recreate here is you see multiple angles or multiple views of what's going on, and they're always in time sync. And he's talking about it, he's showing you from different angles, and then there is also the instruction kind of going on there. But we all learn differently. So at some point, you may want to just focus on the whole thing, or you may want to just focus on the right hand, or the left hand, or just the instructions as the instructions are going, right? And then you can cycle through what's going on, and they're always in time sync, okay? So you can go back and forth, and you can see in different views. And how many of you here are left-handed? Okay, so you may want to follow as a left-handed person, right? Or you may want to slow down the speed. Obviously, you can slow it down, follow, really get what's going on, really kind of fine-tune the process. And then let me just go back here. You can also loop a particular section where you can it keeps on looping until you practice perfectly what's going on. And so you see that we have just the rewind button and no forward button. So basically what we have tried is like everything that's out there in that is specifically to learn a skill, like a physical manual skill. And pretty soon you'll be able to do it with voice and gesture recognition as well, so that you can put it away in front of you and then just go on practicing. And the whole thing is provided as a as an iTunes library kind of a setup where you download all your courses and you follow whatever is going on. So here's a cooking course, and then you can follow different views again, and here's the recipe and the ingredients going on, and like I said, they're always time synced. And you can use it for learning a skill or teaching your employees how to operate in a machine or equipment, or things like that. So using SkillRoot, I learned how to read people's minds. So I know you're wondering how difficult or complex it is to create all that content, right? And in about 20 seconds in the Q&A, I'll answer to my own question. So this is a complete platform. This is, it's all proprietary, patent pending, with the user interface and everything. And we have the complete solution where you create all this content, you distribute using our app for your customers, your students or employees, or your customers, and yeah, there's a beep. Okay, thank you. Questions? There. Where do we find what? Okay, so we are a tech company. We don't create all the content. So our customers are content creators, individual instructors, academies, institutions, tech and trade schools, universities, companies. Yes.
so now I wanted to answer your question. How hard is it to create those 4X?
Okay, I planted him. I paid him. Yes. So yeah, one of the first things we want to do is make sure that. Oh, sorry. How do we create this content? How easy or difficult it is to create this content? So you don't need any special hardware or software or Adobe Premiere Experience or anything at all. So you can use any camera that you already have, because all our smartphones or webcams, GoPros, they're all high definition already. Okay, and anything with a Wi-Fi connection or Bluetooth, we'll be able to network them using our app. So you set them up however you want, across a table, across a room, across a field, and you hit record on one of our app, and then it starts recording on all of them. So you don't need multiple photograph or videographers or any such thing. Or you can also use your regular DSLR or any camera which records video, and we'll be able to sync it up automatically using our platform. So it's as simple as whipping out your phone, recording a video, and uploading it to YouTube. It's as simple as that. There. Okay. So two ways. One is with our how do we make money? So two ways with our customers who create content to sell to their customers. For example, our music school, they have lots of students and alumni. They create the content and sell it to them. So we take 15 to 30% of revenue share in such cases where they sell that content. But in cases where companies use this for training their employees and customers internally, where they don't do transactions, we do an annual subscription based on the user base. That. Why don't we do what? Sorry? Yes, so pretty much most of our, what we call, why don't we just partner with our competitors in a way, including Udemy? That's what we are trying to do because our technology is complementary, our content is complementary, and we plan to license it out to most of our partners or competitors. Yeah. Yeah. So currently we're working with, since we are being recorded, like one of the largest golfing instruction or a golfing association, which probably everyone knows. Who are some of the commercial customers that we're working with? One is the Freeway Music I can talk about. That's they're the largest and the fastest growing private music school in South Carolina. And we are also working with a big box home improvement store where they want to create a lot of DIY content for their sales. Yeah. So our market access and sales strategy. So for our education aspect of it, we are directly going to private schools like music schools, golf instruction, yoga studios and all, and universities and tech and trade schools. And for our companies for training and customer training, we're working through manufacturing associations or industry associations where we take specific industry demos and we're trying to sign them up. There. Okay, so how do we manage the quality of the content? So for currently, all our customers are creating content for their internal usage, so for their own students and whatnot. So it's easy. So it's not out in the public, and we know the customers pretty well. But once we do like a marketplace, then initially we will be able to monitor the content. But ultimately, as it grows, we are hoping to go through the review process, and where the public flags or reports the content, and then we'll be able to review and take it down. There. Yeah. So in Q1 next year, we'll be doing live stream. So you'll be able to do live sessions of all your classes or sessions. One last question, I suppose. Yes, so that's our most, are we focusing on healthcare space? That's in fact our most compelling, our value proposition is in that space. So our two biggest customers who also invested in us are into medical device manufacturing, and they want to use this for employee training as well as post-sales customer training. So healthcare medical device space is our biggest one. Sorry, last time up.
Yep. Let's give a big round of applause to Skill.
Thank you.
And for the 30-second pitch in between, first up we have Adam with Shared Space.
Recent research by major universities has exposed just how harmful social media can be to our mental health when it exposes us exclusively to the bright, cheery, and PG parts of our friends' lives. Through likes, shares, and upvotes, traditional social media encourages self-validation by motivating us towards, I'm stumbling here, towards approval from our friends, ultimately. We've discovered that by changing the social media landscape and the rules that define it, we can remove the cheap communication of likes and shares and create a space which is more unedited, raw, and rooted in acceptance that promotes growth from within rather than without. I'm Owen. That space is called Shared Space. That's our app. It's in development now. We'd love to talk to you about it more in the back. Thanks very much.
And you can find information about all our volunteers in the back on the back wall. Next up, we've got Pete with Ollie Strength.
So good evening, my name is Pete Mangum. I'm the founder of Ollie Strength, and I'm here tonight to tell you about our first product launch, Kratos, which is coming out in the next following months. So if you like working out, weightlifting, CrossFit, things like that, this product is for you. And guess what? It's the same technology that professional athletes are using in their training right now. So if you want to learn more, our website's olistrength.com. And I'll be in the back afterwards to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Up next, we have Reach. They bring the Instagram analytics you've been waiting for.
Wow, that was a really good introduction. Okay, so we're Instagram analytics and influencer identification. And for you, those of you who don't know what influencers are, they're people that have a big following that if they told somebody to do something, other people would do it. So I'm Billy Boozer. I'm the founder. I'm a software engineer. I worked in advertising and marketing for 10 or 15 years. And so I built all kinds of different ways to get you to buy stuff. And so I just want to go ahead and jump into what we're kind of handling here is Brand X goes and they've got 20,000 followers and they get 100 followers a day and you see all these things streaming through every time they make a post. So you get all these likes and comments and things like that. But what ends up happening is it just becomes noise. You don't know who the people are that are engaging with your content. You don't know what their value is, whether they have, whether they're bots, whether they're just fake accounts. And so it's really hard to know who those people are. And so what Reach is doing is we're trying to find the influencers in your following, and we're trying to analyze who they are, what content they engage with, and then if they engage with your physical location. So today, Instagram went down, and so I tried to plan for it going down, so I screenshotted everything. And so basically, I'm just going to kind of run you guys through the app. When you log into the app, you get to see a general breakdown of how many likes, how many follows, how many comments, and how many posts you make on a day-by-day basis. So what we see here is a 30-day breakdown of your actual content. And then next what we do is hold on just a second. Should I go back? Well, the previous slide was a heat map of when you post and how frequently you post, what times a day you post, things like that. Then we can go down into what posts are most successful, which ones have the most likes, which is really hard in Instagram. You have to go all the way down into the app and go into the post and then go into all the comments and all the likes. So we bring that all the way up to the top so you get a really good idea in one snapshot of how good your content's performing and who engages with that content. And so next we can go into the actual post and we can see how many likes you got, what's the average likes, how many comments, and we have a really big reach score. We're going to normalize that at some point in time. But the next thing that's really interesting is we give you a follower breakdown. And that means we tell you how many followers have engaged in the last X amount of time. We tell you when they engaged last. We tell you if they've ever engaged at all. So you can start really figuring out who your audience is, who the people that care about the things that you post are, and whether they're willing to spread the message for you. Next, I might be getting too far away from this. Next, you get a view of how to track your followers. So right now, if you went into Instagram, you wouldn't be able to see who has the most following, who has the best follower to following ratio, who's posted most recently, and who actually is engaged with your content. And if you're a brand, you really want to know the people that actually engage with your content. And so we take that and break it down to where you can have that sorted, filtered, and be able to see who's actually engaging with your content. Next, you can go into the followers, see what those follower stats are, but then you can also see every single piece of content that they've ever engaged with. So if they've liked things, you can start seeing when they like those things, when they frequently like those things, and when they engage with that content, so then you can continue to understand your followers better. And then the really, really exciting part is to see the people who have actually engaged with your content. So how many times they've engaged. There's one person here that's actually engaged 235 times with your content, and they're a private follower, so they're actually a real person. And we go ahead and skip through a couple things. We can track physical locations. And so we can track this location right now and suck in all the content, and we're doing that right now. And then in each one of those physical locations, we can give you a heat map of when people actually post content there. And then this is actually a person that's posted content. You can see that's an influencer. She has a ton of followers. She gets a lot of engagement. And then this is a $1.2 billion market. People actually do pay other people to do this stuff. We've harvested 2 million Instagram followers. We're going to throw those through machine learning to do categorization and segmentation. So we can say, hey, give me 500 moms if I'm a brand so that I can contact them to distribute my message for me. And then we're doing marketplace.reach.io. And so what that is a marketplace to connect brands and influencers to actually collaborate on projects together. And the last thing I wanted to show you really quick was, let's see, Shotzi's doing something today. So I've already sucked in a post from them. They have a bunch of people that have engaged with their content. And this person would be really cool to see what they actually, what they've engaged with. This person's a wedding photographer, so that might be one of your customers. So you should go check that out. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. Questions? Yes. Okay. So that's a good question. So the question is this for brands or is it for influencers? So Cameron Dallas is an influencer, right? And so it would be really good for Cameron Dallas because he could actually find who his raving fans are and immediately communicate with them. The other side of it is it's good for brands because what brands can do is they can find the influencers in their following and communicate with the people that have the largest audience to spread their message, right? And then there's this other concept of micro-influencers, which are people like moms or mom bloggers or fitness bloggers and things like that that have 20,000 followers, and if they tell somebody to do something, they've got 2,000 other moms that would follow them and do the types of things that they would do. So that's kind of the target audience. And then our enterprise model is for agencies that manage social media for customers. We charge $50 a month per Instagram account. So go ahead. So the communication, what if it's somebody who doesn't follow you? So the communication mechanism in Instagram's API is really crap. Like, if you don't know, Instagram's API is really, really bad. But what's really cool is that people put things like their email addresses in their bios and ways to connect with them, and they give you links to their websites and things like that. And so what I would suggest in that situation is not only do we harvest content from people who don't necessarily follow you, we harvest content from anyone who engages with your content. So if you have 300 likes on something, we're harvesting all of those people. We're pulling them in, analyzing their data, and then giving you a ranked list of those people to communicate with or engage with. So you're not really losing them, but you do have to do a little bit of legwork because Instagram's API is not that great. Yes? Right now, we're focusing on Instagram. That's the only thing we're focusing on. The question is, are we going to put this in any other social media sites? So what we're focusing on is on Instagram because they've got really good growth right now, and they're copying everything that Snapchat does anyway, so we should be able to port over all those user interfaces. Question? So as a user, you are giving me my permission to implicitly bring in your data by actually commenting or engaging with a public user's content. So this is all public content. So if you're a private follower, you'll notice in our app, it just says private. So I don't get your followers, I don't get any type of data on you except for your profile picture and your profile name. That's it. Question? Oh, what you got? So we're about to throw everything into machine, how far are we with our predictive analytics? So we're about to throw everything into machine learning. I built the app in January. We launched it in February, that's this year. And then we've got about 30 customers on it right now. And those are like brands and individuals who want to analyze their following. We just got to 2 million Instagram accounts that we've sucked in. And so we've just got a data set that's actually big enough to be able to analyze. A lot of people don't realize it takes a lot of data to get machine learning working worth of crap. So we also have an admin that none of you guys can see that allows me to start training that machine learning. So part of machine learning is you actually have to train it to figure out what you want it to do. And so we have this ability to be able to tag people in it, and then it goes in and then auto tags those people. Go ahead. So it's really, how can I help you if you don't have an Instagram account? For me, I can't help you if you don't have an Instagram account, okay? But if you're starting from ground zero, we can actually, if you had an account and you really wanted to put a lot of effort into growing it, we could harvest the data from the very inception, and that's going to give us a better data set over time, right? One of the things is Instagram doesn't allow us to go back in time. We get everything from the point you start on, right? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So who is the primary user? So for us, the primary user right now with the analytics tool is either an individual or a brand that wants to find the influencers that already engage with you or your content. Okay? And so the future is I'm a brand that wants to find influencers, and I go on my service, which is a marketplace that allows you to connect and collaborate on creative content.
Okay,
Cool.
let's give
Thank
a round
you.
of applause to Reach. Nicely done. Our first volunteer is Justin McLeod. McLeod.
McLeod. Hey everyone, my name is Justin McLeod. I'm the founder of Sir Thrive. It is a creative marketing agency here in Atlanta. I'm here because we have a new meetup at Atlanta Tech Village in the community center next Tuesday called the Service Exchange. So we all know that startups have little to no money, but they have really talented and skilled in specific areas. So we're basically inviting entrepreneurs, founders, to come out, barter, and exchange their services to collaborate, save money, and build relationships. So next Tuesday, ATV Community Center. Thank you.
And one more volunteer, Mr. B with Zentek.
Hey guys, what a beautiful place this is, right? Atlanta Tech Village hasn't had any plugin so far, so I'm here. I'm the village clown. So my name is Mr. B. I'm from LA, Lower Alabama. You can tell from my accent, right? But I just wanted to thank all of these guys, Caitlin, Allie, Kelly, and Carly, Jewel, Rosie, Crescencio, Dylan, and David. And David also work here. So let's give a big round of applause for all of these things that happen here. Just the perfect time for the things to fall off, right? Okay. Again, my name is Mr. B. We have a company called Zentek. We make a mobile app, Internet of Things, and data science as services. And we are working on a product in telematics called Zenway. So if you are anyway connected with the automotive space, I would love to talk to you. And if you are an investor, I would love to talk to you as well. And if you need more details, it's on the back wall for me and all my volunteers here. And also, I'll be teaching at Kennesaw State University on Java. So if any of you are a learner, want to learn Java, I would love to help you there as well. So again, Mr. B, Zentech. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Walter with Netify, which provides prototype development and business strategy consulting. Take it away, Walter.
Good evening, Atlanta. Thank you so much, Ali, for doing such an awesome job welcoming me here for this discussion and giving me a few minutes of your time tonight to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is the intersection of technology with Watson-like big data predictive analytics. An example of that, though there are several that are in development at Netify, the one that's in alpha form and possibly the best mature of which, is one that targets an opportunity or a market that's increasingly public. It's increasingly being publicized. It's the responsibilities that sports teams and schools have for the health of their contact sport players. The particular area of concern we're seeing more and more discussion on is something called traumatic brain injury, TBI. We think of it as concussions. And there is an existing player in this business of assessing one's diminished performance as the result of a suspected head injury. That company makes, we think, about $18 million a year. They do it using what looks like 1985 client-server technology. It looks to me like the program's been written in either Fortran or BASIC, but it works like this. If you are going to begin a season of contact sport, you make an appointment with the doctor, you go in and you sit down in front of this computer, and it runs you through 5 or 6 challenges. Challenges of how many words can you memorize, or how quickly can you identify a color. It's mental acuity and reflexes that are bundled together for your $20 into a baseline. Now, further in the season, heaven forbid, should you sustain some sort of injury, then you do go back to the doctor and you take those same challenges again. And for $10, they tell you whether your performance has been diminished to the point where there might be some recommendation for therapy or maybe even pulling you out of the sport. It seems, though, that in this world of mobile platforms and ready cloud access, it's time for a 21st century reboot for this model. A reboot that put this testing in mobile phones and platforms into the hands of coaches and players in situ might make more ready exams, might overcome the friction of making an appointment and going to the doctor's office, and maybe giving us better results, especially if we use a little bit about what we've learned with gamification. After all, every person playing sports in these K-12 and college areas grew up playing games. So this is an update we think is far past due. And then there's that tantalizing thing out there that as we crowdsource the various players from various teams and various demographies, we can start to assemble an interesting predictive analytical model. So this is intriguing enough for us at Netify to build an app that, well, where does any sport activity start but in the locker room? And this is no different for Jounce. Jounce, by the way, is a working title. It is an alpha form, and this could be changed. But in this form, we have 4 lockers. The first one is how one sets the demographic profile. A second one allows you to use some sliders to adjust symptoms. The third one is the interesting one. That's what takes you into the challenges. And as you can see, as you open that locker, it takes you into the coach's clipboard. And these are the tests that are administered. And then the punchline, of course, are the results. Now, the white line you see on this spider diagram shows the baseline performance against these 6 challenges. The red indicates the performance you've just turned in after your suspected injury, and the difference between the baseline and your current performance defines just how severe your injury might be. Now, we're not asking for money. What we're looking for at Netify is an existing medical practice who might be interested in taking this app and a few others in the portfolio This is not just the only thing that Watson seems to be good at. We're pretty intrigued at some of the others, but this is the one that's furthest along, and we're not asking for money. We might even be offering money. We're going to let the practice collect the revenues, whatever revenue model works for them, whether it's downloads, advertising, or perhaps per testing. And we would like, though, that the practice also further explore this Watson connection, because we think some of them are pretty exciting. So that is our current need, that is our current ask, and I thank you for giving me a few minutes to introduce it to you. Questions? I see. Okay, you. You said Chris? No, it's good. Go ahead. The question is there an impermeable way? Conformal way. You know, it's a sliding scale. And if you know what a Likert scale is, the formula works like this. You take the diminished performance that was on the spider diagram, and you subtract it from the baseline. You multiply it by Likert scales. Do you know what Likert scales are? That's a ranking of 70. It's a slider. You've seen sliders before that indicate, you know, when you go to the doctor, is your pain happy face or is your pain sad face? That's a Likert scale. So that's the formula, and it comes up with a probability that you must be removed from the game, or a probability that you should seek some other therapy. And that's where the machine learning comes in, by the way. Great question. And that's why we want to work with a medical practice to determine. Did that answer the question? Okay. Yes. Hi. Hi, Nick. I am good. How you been? So yes, so we must talk. Thank you for introducing yourself. I wish we could take the time to talk about what you did. Bring it on, Nick. Okay. Okay, Nicolo did some great work for me on another one of our Netify projects. Not tonight, though. It's not this one, not tonight. We have several projects underway at Netify. I can't talk about all of them. Thanks for the introduction. Yes? Yeah. No, the answer is it's identical, except that it's on the athlete's phone. I'm sorry. So how is it different than, Allie, I'm so sorry. I told myself I wasn't going to do this. How is it different than what they're doing now? The difference is that it is on the coach's platform, or it's on the student-athlete's phone. The student-athletes self-administer the test. And yes, and that there may be no need for baselining anymore. If we can get enough of the demographics up into the training deck, we were talking about how you train machine learning, it looks to us probable that we can eliminate and cut this testing thing in half. Back there. So the question is a great one, and thank you for asking. What partnership are we seeking? I think we do want a medical professional in the food chain, but that medical professional can be with a rugby team. It can be with the Braves, the Atlanta Hawks, yeah. And it makes a lot of sense that we would do that, except that they might, so it bears discussion. That model is not fully baked, but it's an intriguing idea. Yes? So the question is, are we correlating IQ? Yeah. Short answer, yes, but long answer is a little more complicated than that. These tests are not IQ tests. These tests are not competition. When I'm going in and establishing a baseline, especially for a training deck for comparisons, I'm looking at your demographics. I'm looking at your age. I'm looking at your gender. I'm looking at your background. I'm looking at your geography. I'm looking at the sports that you're playing. And when I get several hundred of these, as someone mentioned, big data is not called that for no reason, then we can use those training particulars to establish what you should be performing at. And IQ is not a component. Yeah. This is really exciting stuff. So the question is, does ADHD impact the results? And of course, there would be a column on your big data. You would have to indicate, yes, this has been diagnosed with ADHD or not, and that would throw the results. Perhaps, I'm not a medical professional, but you would want as many columns as you can in your training deck. And I like the idea of including ADHD, yes? I'm sorry, repeat for me. Yes. So I didn't want to get into this tonight. She said, will this work outside of TBI and with other types of health and wellness assessment? I'm astonished I got that question tonight. We're looking at about a half a dozen different things. Should I mention one of them is, if we're able to take the data set, could we also be listening audio to a child, an infant who can't speak? Maybe we can do big data representation and predictive analytics on many, many things. I like that idea. So exciting. Thank you, guys.
Let's
You're
give
the
a big
best.
round to
You're the
Netify.
best.
Okay, our next volunteer, Chris with Accountable.
Big crowd. All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, guys. Chris Mitchell with Accountable. Imagine, if you will, an accounting company that's inspired by why you do business, not just what you do or how you do it. Imagine having a team of specialists that are acting as an asset to your bottom line and not just as a necessary evil. Now come back to the present. If your imagination is better than your current situation, maybe it's time to consider a new solution. Maybe it's time to get accountable. If you want to learn more, come find me. I'll be wearing the same thing all over here, or you can go to the back wall and find our information. Thanks, guys.
Okay, our last presenter tonight. Oh, sorry, second to last. Insight is fundamentally changing the way organizations share data. Take it away, ladies.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We're very excited to be here. My name is Morgan, and this is Mallory. We lead sales and marketing here at Insight. But before I share a little bit about us, I want to hear about you guys. So if you are in sales or marketing, or you lead a sales and marketing team, please raise your hand. Awesome. Now keep your hands up. Others with your hands raised, who here has a sales playbook? Okay, so I saw a lot of hands go down. So just hold on to that. We're going to loop back around to that in a second. But before we do that, I want to start with the problem. So as many of you know, and some of you are even living this right now, sales and marketing, unfortunately, are on separate planets. So that causes a lot of negative outcomes for their company, a couple of which are on the screen behind me. So high turnover because these employees feel like their work doesn't matter, lower revenue for obvious reasons, lost efficiency because sales doesn't know what marketing is doing, so they're recreating a bunch of content that is already there for them, which unfortunately causes inconsistent branding and then client frustration because they're hearing one thing from sales, one thing from marketing, and they don't know who or what to believe. So here are some numbers behind me. These are from last year. So as of 2016, 88% of sales professionals were unable to pull up sales collateral on their phones. Guys, over half of you right now are on your phones instead of even listening to me. So this is crazy. We have got to make sure that our sales reps have access on their phones. It's our duty. And then 82% of B2B buyers felt that sales reps weren't ready, that they had their meeting and that they were just not even there. And guys, this is such a bummer because we know companies spend so much money, so much time, so much energy to get to that point. So then $1 trillion, this is our potential market here. This is how much money was spent last year by companies across the US to help enable their sales teams. So we focus specifically on B2B sales companies with a more complex sales cycle. So we've created Insight. This is a collaborative, secure, mobile-friendly, safe place for sales and marketing to play together. So what we're going to focus on here is one spot where sales can access every single thing that they need. So before they even start on their first day, they will be able to see what's going to happen on their first day. So that way they can absorb more information. They're going to have an evergreen sales playbook, guys. So your competition is changing, your landscape is changing. Your sales playbook has got to be changing with it or you guys are going to fall behind. So on this next slide, you will see a glamour shot of Insight. I'll start here with the iPad. You'll see the white section is the activity feed. So anytime anything new is uploaded into Insight, your sales reps will be notified. So you won't hear any more I don't know, I never got it. I don't think you ever sent me that presentation. It's there. I know you got notified about it. Also, your awesome sales reps can say, hey, this networking event is amazing, or hey, this is what I'm doing to close these deals. So it's like having your A sales reps ride around with everybody else, which who doesn't want that? And then on the mobile device, you will see we've worked really hard to have a seamless transition from your iPhone home screen to the Insight home screen. So all the little squares that you see, those are the content apps. They are completely 100% customizable, and they will range from your sales playbook to sales training to marketing collateral, etc. And then here, we were just talking about how your sales reps are meeting with your customers and your prospects. They know what's happening with competition. So instead of having your sales reps just keep that knowledge with them or potentially even leave and go work for a competitor, let's make it super simple through surveys. After they meet with your customers or your prospects, they can quickly fill out and crowdsource what's happening, and then marketing on these lovely graphs can see what's really happening with your competition. So thank you guys so much again for being here. And as a special thank you, we have a free gift for you guys, of course. So typically we create internal communities with companies. We create a place for sales and marketing to work together. We wanted to create a community for all of you here and for Atlanta specifically. Right now, Atlanta is gaining a lot of recognition for being a up-and-coming tech hub, so go Atlanta. So we figured why not leverage all of these amazing sales and marketing professionals here. So if you go to the next slide for a second. We have already reached out to some awesome people. So we have actually Chi-Chi is here with Simple Networking, and you guys are all here networking. So there's some great tips in here about the best networking practices. You guys should find Crafter and talk to her too. Zulark has shared some best practices around websites that convert. And then we have Imagine Media and a couple others here who are helping you with social media tips and just some great things that you can do to help build your company. Thank you. Okay, questions? Yes. Great question. So his question was, how do you ensure that sales reps continue to access and use a tool? And that's a great question and something we focus on a lot. It's actually a sales tool created by salespeople. So we wanted to make it really, really simple to use. So I mentioned the design there. That sales reps appreciate it because they're not searching through things really easily. They get frustrated and they're like, never mind, forget it. I'm just going to do my own thing. So we've done that. And then also we do have notifications. So you'll be alerted whenever anything new is added. So it just kind of helps you remember that this is here and they keep on going back. Thank you. Yes? A organized what solution? Oh, like Dropbox? Yes, great question. So how is this different from Dropbox? So Dropbox is more just kind of a broad solution for everybody. We focus specifically on sales and marketing. We also have some really great analytics, which I didn't really go into as much because I only had 5 minutes. But you were able to see exactly what your sales reps are accessing. So you know what content is working, what's not working, what's working for your customers, and you kind of know which direction you want to keep on going. Who is our main customer? Yeah, so we have a couple different main customers. All of our customers are our most important customer, but Panelum is a good example of a great customer. So they have around 100 sales reps across the country, and they use it for everything from their pricing sheets to marketing collateral to they actually just had a sales conference where they all got together for the first time, and we went and met up with them to kind of get more feedback from them. So they also use it just for the logistics on the sales conference, where they're going to be staying, all that kind of stuff. Can it work with your CRM? Absolutely, yes. We can integrate with different CRMs we have with Salesforce, and we can with other ones too. Yes?
So for the sales organization that doesn't have, say, a playbook or an onboarding process, what are you guys doing to help out those organizations when they join your app?
Great question. So for those who don't have an onboarding or a sales playbook, what are we doing to help them? So you can just get Insight out of the box and use it the way that it is. But if you don't have that, then we will work with you. There's some extra consulting fees associated with that, but we can actually help you put an entire sales playbook together, work with you on having a great process to get started, etc. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys.
All right. Blew everybody away. Okay, up next we have Michael. Michael, that's a little weird to call you that because it's actually his last name's Cowherd. So if you know him, he's Michael Cowherd. Somewhere, Michael Cowherd with Whoa. Woo!
You know it, I had a few drinks, so definitely got some energy in me. How's everybody doing tonight? As she said, my name is Michael Cowherd, like a herd of cows. I go by my last name in the startup community. And I'm here, the community organizer of Tech Talent South, so we teach adults how to code. Similar to Digital Crafts, we have a different schedule, but we are similar to them. But I'm here to tell you about women-only entrepreneurs. Acronym is WOA. If you are into pop culture, Drake had a song, Running Through the Six with My Woes. So these women come together to run through the A with their woes, talk about their trials and tribulations as lady bosses and how they've kind of worked their way through the ranks. So tomorrow is our first event. Our host is Stephanie Diaz. She is the host of Mastermind Your Launch. She helped take a pharma startup from zero to hundreds of millions of dollars before claiming her voice. And tomorrow we'll have our guest, which is Ophelia De Lavalette. She has one of the top dance studios in the country. She was actually the only one here in Georgia recently. And we'll have a champagne toast, affirmations, and it's for women to kind of come together, be galvanized in sisterhood and uplift, and just do awesome things. So on the back is my information. You can find us at woeatl.eventbrite and .com. And if you use the promo code WOATL, you'll get the promo code. So once again, Michael Cowherd with WOA, so Women Only Entrepreneurs. It'll be located at the Wimbush House tomorrow night, and that's woeatl.eventbrite.com. Have a good night.
All right, and finally, we have Shotzi, provides pro photographers on demand.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frederick, and I am a surfer turned entrepreneur. It turns out that surfing and entrepreneurship have a lot in common. They're both very unpredictable. They reward risk, and when you wipe out, the first thing you want to do is get right back out there and try again. This is actually my fourth startup. The first two continue to operate. I sold the third one with my CTO sitting over here, and this is my number 4. So let's dive right in. I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which one would you like to hear first? All right, the bad news. Okay, in 2016, an article from MIT said that the average attention span of a typical human being was what? All right. All right, great job. Everybody in here is clearly above average. All right, so before you start high-fiving, they also said 9 seconds was the average attention span of a typical, she got it, goldfish. All right. There's actually some good news here. So it turns out that the human brain can process images in about a quarter of a second. So despite our freakishly low attention span, we can process a lot of information in a very short period of time through images, as you can see there. So I'd like to introduce you to someone. This is Susie. Susie's got a huge problem. She's got to engage her audience every single day, multiple times a day, on multiple platforms, every single day. In other words, producing engaging content on a consistent basis is really, really hard. Just how big is this problem? Experts agree that there's actually an optimal cadence for producing content on social media. For example, depending on the size of your audience, you should be posting on Facebook about 2 times a day, on Twitter 5 times a day, and on Instagram up to a daunting 10 times per day. Now, not only do you need to post, but the content has to be good. Why does it have to be good? Because every single day we are saturated with a ton of visual content, which means that we've become very sophisticated consumers of visual content. We know what's good and what's bad. Lastly, marketers are spending a ton of time every single day just managing visuals. So, what's our solution? Our solution is Shotzzy, on-demand professional photographers. How does it work? Shotzzy is built around a very simple 3-step workflow of where, when, and who. And we've actually streamlined the hiring process down to just 7 taps on your mobile device. Here's a quick demo. Pretty cool. All right, so the benefits of Shotzzy are clear. First of all, Shotzzy saves the user hours and hundreds of dollars on a typical engagement. Second, our pricing structure is a very straightforward and transparent $99 per hour. And lastly, Shotzzy's detailed onboarding process and rating system ensures that the user's expectations are always exceeded. Target customers for Shotzzy, B2B and B2C marketers, who all agree that producing engaging content is their #1 challenge. How big is the market for this? It's big and it's growing fast. Content marketing is expected to reach $54 billion a year in the year 2019. Now, if you also take what's spent in-house on contractors, it reaches over $300 billion. The revenue model is pretty simple. It's an 80-20 split. The photographer earns 80% and Shotzzy earns 20%. Now, we spent most of 2016 building the app, onboarding photographers, hiring a team, but in 2017, we've had some interesting traction and we're looking forward to growing throughout 2017. We're already open in 5 cities with a few more to go. We actually got an email today from one of our national accounts that's ready to open up New York. We've got a great team. All of the team members have had at least one successful exit. My co-founders have. Our CTO is sitting right here. And Taylor, who's standing right here, he's responsible for making sure that every photographer on the app is stellar. He's a SCAD graduate with a BFA in photography, and his work's been presented in the White House. So, thank you very much. We'd love it if you download the app and check out our social feeds as well. And I'd love to take some questions. William. It is a flat $99 per hour, and when the user goes through the app, they decide how many hours that they want to hire the photographer for. Oh, it is a, here, you go ahead.
So the usage rights, the photographer retains the copyright. The client has a lifetime lease on that image to use internally and on social media. If they wish to publish it and do a campaign with it, there's another conversation to be had after that. Yeah, man. Top 3 markets, B2B. So anything that encompasses B2B. We want to be the business resource for your, oh man, we should have had a photographer there. We want to fix that. We want to be there to then trickle home with you once your wife's 50th birthday or your kid's 5th birthday, whatever. We want to be there for that. We want to be here for this. We're eating our own dog food. This is Justin. He is our guy. He has picked up 8 jobs out of the last 15 or so. He's the man. Right here. You want to take that one?
No, it is exclusive content. Oh, the question was, Can you get exclusive content? Every engagement between a user and a photographer is exclusive to the user. Now, you get usage rights for those images on your social media, on your website, etc. If you want to put a billboard on a highway, something like that, then you need to have a conversation with the photographer, and you're connected through the app on your dashboard. Yes, sir. That is exactly right. He said, you're going to, it wasn't a question actually. So he said, so you're gonna have a stock photo library. Yes, the answer is yes to that question. The stock photography industry continues to skyrocket, but everybody knows that it's the worst performing type of asset on social media. But Shotzi is a cure for that. Let me go over here. Yes, sir, in the back of the room. Oh, that's a great one. Well, we have done some, I'm gonna give it to him. The question is, how do you find your photographers? I promised I wasn't going to do that. Okay, so we have done, they've been finding us, and we've also been posting jobs on LinkedIn as well. The question is, have you considered opening it up to videography? Yes, we have. What we have today is much more than an MVP, but I would characterize it as phase 1. And we're definitely looking to videography next. Let me go to the other side of the room here for a second. Yes, sir. The question was, have you considered evaluating specialties? And yes, when a photographer registers on the platform, they are able to select a series of specialties which show up on their profile. If you download the app for free, by the way, you can go through the process almost entirely before you actually get to hire a photographer, which means we need a payment method, but you can actually see the profiles of the photographers before you pay anything. The question was, is it available on both Android and iTunes? And the answer is yes, it is available on both. Yes, sir. Great question. Let me answer that because we got 14 seconds. We have a protocol that every photographer, after an engagement, is required to do basic editing, color correction, cropping, and image selection, about 15 minutes per hour on the engagement. Can I finish this question? If the customer would like some additional post-processing on the back end, there's a conversation that can be had between the photographer and the client to add additional hours onto the job to accommodate that additional post-processing. What was that question? The question was, can you accommodate additional post-processing, or how do you handle post-processing on the app?
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Give it up for Shotzi. Okay, so normally we are the last Monday of the month. We take May off because it is Memorial Day, so you will see us back again in June. Please join us. I know it's sad. Please join us online on the meetups. You can follow along, ask questions. If this is your target audience, that's where you need to be. So find us there, follow us online. Thanks for coming out tonight, guys. Appreciate it.